Because I don't care if you're stupid or smart. If you need help, you need help. But I don't get guys that are stupid. You know, just to call stupid guys, but I don't get the guys that are stupid. Why are smart guys always having trouble? It's not fair, if you look at it. Go ahead, finish.
Nazywam się Paweł i zajmuję się prowadzeniem dochodzeń i śledztw w sprawach dotyczących oszustw finansowych.
Mam na imię Dawid, zajmuję się branżą budowlaną.
David.
David, to tak samo jak ty.
I understand that. See, I'm learning Polish. Go ahead.
Wiesz co, chyba za dużo ostatnio myślę i za dużo analizuję. I powiem ci, że... No chyba tak. I nie za bardzo szczęśliwy jestem z tym wszystkim.
We're going to discuss individually during this seminar each person's problem or what they think their problem is. It might not be what you think your problem is. When I start coaching with any student, I have an agreement with them. During the time I'm coaching them or helping them, I am the only one who's allowed to punish you. If you think you did something wrong, no, I have to think you did something wrong. Because what you do sometimes that you think you're doing wrong, you get mad at yourself. If you get mad at yourself, especially intelligent men, it's a punishment you give yourself. Usually the punishment you give yourself is a lot worse than I could punish you. But once you've punished yourself, you exonerate yourself. You're free of the problem. I don't want that to happen. I want you to look at it in a different way. Everything that's going to go on is a learning experience. When I work with my students, I tell them like this. I don't like to talk about the past after the first session. Because no matter how good I am or how good you think I am, I can't help you for yesterday. I can only help you for tomorrow. Why you had this problem, why you became this way, I don't want to analyze it. Waste of time. I want you from this point forward not to have the problem anymore. To have the confidence to move forward. So these are the agreements, and the same thing with the guys in the seminars. When you think you have a problem, I'll discuss what you've done wrong. It's a readjustment. Everything I'm going to tell you, you probably heard before. I'm going to put it in the right order. It's like when you get a puzzle. You know, you've all seen these puzzles, you put together pieces and it makes a picture. This is what it is. It's a puzzle. You have all the pieces, but you're scratching your head, you can't put it together. It's there. After you finish the puzzle, you go, that was easy. But until you finish the puzzle, you think it's hard. I've wanted to come here to Poland for a long time. I'm so happy that Thomas approached me to come, because I've had a lot of Polish students in the past. Most of them speak English perfectly, like, you know, a lot of you guys here, which is, for me, it's an amazing thing, you know. My mother was Polish and she could speak 12 languages, you know. I got trouble with English sometimes. But if you think that I'm not getting to your particular reason why you're here, don't be afraid to lift up your hand in wanting to talk to me. Although this is a seminar, I want to help everybody. So it could be individuals. It's not just, I'm going to talk to him and not talk to you. You know, I want to help everybody. It's easy. It's not hard. I'm going to start with very basic stuff. I'm going to ask you guys questions. And I'm going to ask you right now, how many of you guys could go shopping on a Saturday for 8 hours? Different shops. Go in, try on a shirt, try on pants, buy nothing. And then go back again Sunday to do it all over again. Can any one of you guys do that? Whoever can do it, raise their hand. I don't see any hands. But you all know women can do this. It's amazing. We don't understand how they could do this. To us, it's a punishment. You know, I had a girl once tell me like this. She says to me, I want you to go shopping with me. I looked at her and I go, no. She goes, what? I go, no. She says, come on, come shopping with me. I go, listen, if I go shopping with you, it'll probably be the last time I see you ever again. Because we're going to have an argument. Because I'm going to get bored and I don't want to be it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be there. I don't want to do anything like it. And you have to respect what I'm comfortable with. I ask every woman in every conversation, I thought there would be some women here. Thomas.
It will be
Okay.
after lunchtime.
I ask every woman a question, which is the start of my control. And that question is, what are the 3 most important things in any relationship? And I usually challenge them by saying, I'm going to tell you what they are after you tell me. And I guarantee if you don't hit on all 3 of them, I'll tell you, you'll agree with me. They love the challenge because they want to tell me you're wrong. And I ask them. And again, I'm never afraid to tell them you're wrong. Do you know what the 3 most important things in a relationship?
Probably, but not the ones you
Honest,
remember.
trust, and respect.
Yes. Honesty, trust, and respect. Now, you see, this is a very funny thing because a guy could say that because most men don't trust women. They don't believe them and they don't trust them because they know they're going to lie to them. Most women could say things to guys that no guy would say to a woman. We've been brought up to believe women are so nice and sweet. They're nicer than us. They're not. The men are nicer than women. We would never say to a woman what she would say to a man. If you're with a woman and you look at another woman, she gets mad. But if she looks at another man and you say something, she says, why are you jealous? You have to establish that you have the same rights they have and not be afraid of them. There's a lot of things about women that we can't figure out. We see it every day and we don't understand it. How much money have you spent on makeup in the last year?
None.
No. I can guarantee.
Does haircut count?
What's that?
Haircut counts?
No. Well, you know, I'll tell you a funny thing. I take my 2 boys to the barber, okay? And I'm using the same barber for 40 years, okay? So last time, just before I left, my wife says, I'm going to go with you to your barber shop because he has a women's section too. So I said, I like the guy. I'd like to give him the business. So she comes with me, and when he gives me the bill after, I look at it, whoa, a woman's haircut cost 4 times what a man's haircut cost. They spend money on makeup, hair products. You know, I heard a statistic the other day which freaked me out. In the United States, it's one of the biggest users of hair products. It's a $2 billion business, just stuff to put in women's hair. $2 billion of stuff to put in your hair. And I heard that the black women are 20% of the population in the United States. They spend 80% of the money on women's hair products. And I'm looking. 80%. Their hair is like steel wool. Okay? What are they spending? What's going on? You never see a black woman and go, "Ooh, beautiful hair." It's usually a blonde, a redhead. But these women spend tons of money. What for? To look good for each other? No. To look good for the men. They're buying clothes, spending hours looking through shops, going from store to store to find something that is going to turn you on. This is what we should focus on. When I look at a woman, the first thing I see is, what about her that she attracts me? What turns me on about that woman? The second thing I'm thinking is how I'm going to fuck her. Sometimes when I'm looking at them, I'm staring at them, and she said, I had women come up to me and says, "Do I know you?" I go, "No." She says, "You keep looking at me." I tell them, "I'm enjoying it. I'm thinking about my fantasy fucking her. I don't give a shit if she cares. Why did she get dressed up? Why did she go out if she didn't want me to look at her?" But they give you mixed signals. You go to a club and you go start talking to a girl, and the first thing she tells you is, "I have a boyfriend." Why the fuck are you here if you have a boyfriend? I don't answer them till the third time they tell me they have a boyfriend. And then I tell them, you know, if I was your boyfriend, you wouldn't be here talking to me. What's going on? You're not going to find my wife in a club talking to another guy saying, "I'm married." She shouldn't be there. What's she going out for? But they tell you this because they're lying to you, because they're testing you. They want to see your reaction, how you're going to deal with it. Oh, okay, yeah. When a woman asks me, "What do you want me for, just sex?" I have the same answer. I love my answer. I go like this, you know. I have a back scratcher. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's, you know, you scratch your back with it. I'm pretty neat at home. I'm a good cook. You know, you're right. It's all I want you for is sex. If I want a guy in finance, I'm not going to go to a bar. I'm going to go to a bank or a finance company. Yeah, I'm looking for a woman for what? On this planet Earth, we are one species of animal. The good thing is we're the top of the food chain. We're the smartest animal. We're the thinking animal. But like every single animal, on this planet, we're only supposed to do two things. That's all we're supposed to do. Eat and fuck. That's all. You're wearing clothes, driving cars. It's all lucky because we're the animal. But that's all we're supposed to do is just eat and fuck. And that's why the human animal, especially the male, has got a problem. I'm talking to my young son one day, and I tell him the difference between me and the older people is the older people look at kids and young people, they're stupid, they don't know. I look at it different. I look at every generation after mine is smarter. We don't go back in time. We don't ride horses. You know? We don't hunt with bows and arrows. We're going into space already. We got computers, electronic shit. We got all kinds of stuff. When I was in my 20s, a cell phone didn't exist. Now, you can't find somebody who doesn't have one. Every younger generation, it's like my computer guy, 24 years old. And my wife, who's in IT also, who's been working for the same company for 30 years, when I wanted to get a computer guy, says, you know a company I could call? She goes, no, don't call a company. Look for a kid who's just finished school, a young guy. They're the ones who know more than the rest of us. And she's right. Every generation coming after us is smarter. That's why we progress. That's why we have nicer cars than we had 30 years ago. That's why we don't try to kill each other as much as you did 50 years ago. You know? We're trying very hard to live with each other for the pursuit of happiness. What's happiness? A full belly and a place to put your dick. That's happiness. Who wants to fight with the next guy? Every single person on this planet, whether you're rich or poor, can enjoy sex the same. I was asked, I did an interview with a guy, Alan Roger Curry. He's got very similar views to mine. And he asked me about Tiger Woods, what my opinion was on Tiger Woods. And I said, you know, I have a different opinion than the rest of the world. Here's a guy who earns an insane amount of money. $1 billion a year. One man earns $1 billion a year. And all he wants to do is fuck. Maybe he has his own chef. We don't hear about him cheating on his chef going to a restaurant. So he wanted to fuck different women. I said the only problem Tiger Woods had was he should have talked to me before he got married. All these women that he slept with were only proud and happy to tell the world what he did. He paid them huge amounts of money. But they wanted to make trouble for him. And that's what you should realize. No matter how rich he is, all the problems he had is because the women wanted to make trouble. They all knew he was married. They all called his cell phone or his house to speak to his wife, to tell her. Why? All he wanted to do was fuck. Didn't want to kill anybody. And he gave them lots of money. And if he would have met his wife and said, listen, like you. I want to have children with you. But I want to fuck like crazy. So I'll give you a few $100 million. Let's have children. Let's not get married. Bring up my kids. If she wouldn't have said yes, there would have been millions of women who would have said yes. But no. They got married. Why did he get married? Well, it's a lot of pressure we get, no matter how rich or poor you are, from our families. I had for years people tell me, you should get married. My best friends' wives always wanted to fix me up with girls to get married. No girl's ever good enough for you. I don't say she's not good enough, but after I fuck her, I'm looking for a better fuck. I fucked so many different women, I enjoyed them. It's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to get married. I don't want to be tied down to one woman. When I decided that I wanted to get married, I decided to change my life, which I've done many times. I decided to focus on what I wanted. And what I wanted wasn't to get married. It was to have children. So I chose, out of the girls I was seeing, the one I thought would be the best mother, and the one I thought would treat me the best. And I looked at her and I said to her, "You want to go make a baby boy?" She looked at me and says, "How do you know it's going to be a boy?" I said, "I don't. I think it's going to be a boy." Her father and my father came to me, "Marry her, marry her, marry her." I go, "No." I married her. She was in August 26th. My son was born October 2nd. I waited. She was close to 8 months pregnant. And I tell my wife, if she starts to open her mouth to me, I tell her, "The door is there. You could be replaced." They never stop making women. It's a funny thing. They keep making more and more and more. If you have the attitude that foreplay is 2 hours of begging, look at the reality. She spends a ton of money to make herself look good and smell good. Because they really don't smell good if you don't have any perfume on them. They stink. You have to put your dick in a sloppy, wet hole. And when you get older, the man always looks better than the woman. It's better to give her some kids. It's like in the animal kingdom. Most of the male animals are more majestic than the female. It's in everywhere. In birds, what's better looking? A chicken or a rooster? A peacock, the male peacock has all the feathers. The beautiful colored feathers. The female doesn't. The lion. I tell everybody, if I come back as an animal, I'd like to come back as a lion. The male lion looks good. He always has a pride, which is a harem. 4 or 5 females. They take care of the kids. They do the hunting. He eats, sleeps during the day, and licks his balls at night. That's the best life you could have. You like that? Lucky you can't bend enough, you'd lick your own balls too. But that's the reality. The deer, the male deer has the antlers. They fight for the best looking women. In herds of horses, the best looking, strongest horse gets the women. with bulls, with rams. It's all the same. The animal kingdom. And what else? You think it was just designed for animals, that when a woman gets in heat, the male smells it, knows it? It's only in animals? I can walk into a club or a bar and I can smell when a woman is wet. I'm not better than you guys. I don't have a special science inside of me that could do it and you can't. It's the smart guys that shut all these natural instincts off because you doubt yourself. When you see a girl is looking at you, you don't know what to do. You're thinking, the first 100 things you're thinking about is making her happy. Rule number 1. Who cares what she thinks or says? You don't believe her anyway, but you want to think what she's going to say. How can you think what the woman's going to say? They don't make sense to us. I don't know how many of you guys have sisters, but I spoke to one student who had 2 sisters, and I said to him like this, how long do you think your sister spends in the bathroom before she goes out with her friends to a club? And he'd go, oh, fuck, it was my nightmare growing up. He could never get the toilet with 2 sisters. Sure. If I lock you in a toilet for 2.5 hours, you'll fucking be hitting the door after 15 minutes. What are they doing there? They move every pussy hair in the right place. What the fuck do they do in there? None of us can figure out what they do in there. They go and they get the hair pulled off their skin with fucking hot wax. When I get a Band-Aid on it, I have to rip it off. I hate it. They're ripping off around their pussy and their ass, and for what? For you to touch them, it's all smooth. I used to have a rule. I never would go out with a girl who had a bigger mustache than me. You have to realize and feel you're the male. I sometimes give my students homework assignments, like I mentioned to you. I have lots of different homework assignments. Depending the level you're at, I've made a lot of students write me out a letter of recommendation about themselves. Like, you're a commodity. Don't look in the mirror and say, I'm not good looking enough for the women. This doesn't matter. Men think like this, not women. Every time you're going to try to think what she's thinking, you're going to be wrong. I met this gentleman yesterday and I told him, you're a commodity. You're a valuable commodity. There isn't guys around like your age, intelligent like you, without baggage, without problems, that a woman can grab onto. But you're not thinking of that, you're good. You're thinking of, oh, you want to be nice to her. Why? Let her be nice to you. It goes back to all cultures. If we talk religious cultures, well, the Catholic religion is a very good sign. The women are number 2. They can't even be a priest. They can only be a nun. And you know what? I say like this, they're all married to Jesus. If Jesus comes back, does he get to fuck them all? That's what's in my mind. They're all his wives. I'd like to come back and say, my name's Jesus. You gotta all fuck me. It's for the men to control the women because they need control. Yeah, you know, okay, I'm definitely, I don't hide it, a male chauvinist. Okay? I believe it and I think like it. Look, you can't find a worse religion for women than the Arabs, the Muslims. I'm not saying it's a bad religion, but if you're a woman, it's not very good. You have to cover up your face. You have to walk 4 steps behind the man. If the man wants to divorce you, he needs 1 male witness, and he walks around you counterclockwise, I don't know, 6 times, 4 times, whatever, and tells you, get the fuck out. Any religion you look at. It was not long ago where they had to stop was it the Indians or the Pakistanis? They were killing the girl babies. Only if they had a boy baby it was good. We always think you have to be nice to the women. That's because of our mothers. They did nothing wrong, but doesn't mean you have to believe everything they say too. In a lot of the religions, the women bring up the children, like in the animal kingdom. The difference between us and the animals is when the animal becomes mature, they're let go. Sometimes if a lion or a bear meets their cub when it's an adult, they don't even remember it was their cub. They could kill it or eat it even though it was their own. We're different. In the humans, our mothers never leave go. They keep us always forever. Well, it's nice. You have family, you have events. It's nice. Appreciate what you have. But you can't force yourself to do things that your parents want you to do. I talked to a lot of young guys. I was lucky. Most of my friends growing up, they got married young. When I was in my 20s, half of my friends were married. Whew, I used to look at them, fuck. You fucked only 1 girl. You sure that's what you want to do? And today, they're all fucking around on their wives. They're all not happy. I had a friend, he got married. 4 or 5 years ago, I'm talking to him. He says, I just got divorced. I go, but you were so happy. He goes, nah, I was never happy. It was after the first couple of years, I was never happy. I said, what happened? He says, it was after my daughter's wedding. I'm sitting at the table, having a coffee in the morning, reading the newspaper, and my wife is... I looked at her, I put down the newspaper, I says, you know, I don't need this shit anymore. Goodbye, I'm leaving, and he left. And he actually met this nice Russian girl, you know. And he said to me, you know, it's amazing. I don't have to ask her to give me a blowjob. With my wife, I'd have to buy her jewelry or a mink coat to get a blowjob. I said, fuck. I was 35 years old before I found out a girl's ears were for hearing. And he's begging for a blowjob. I thought they were fucking handles. I grew up thinking the perfect girl is this tall, with a flat head, and big ears. So I could put my beer on her head while she's blowing me. You know, I went out with the boys yesterday. We went to look at some sunglasses, so the girl had to bend down to open the lock at the bottom. So he's standing beside me, and I look at him, I tell him like this, I says, I love when a girl goes on her knees in front of me. To me, it's a nice feeling. I'm not crude when I talk to women, because women need a fantasy, a romance fantasy. Now, they want a guy who's romantic. But you see, I can't train everybody to be romantic. I can tell you, romantic is not what you need to be. It's smart, and you're all smart. I used to buy girls very inexpensive gifts. Like I went once to, I don't know, you don't have them here. They used to be called 5 cents to $1 stores. It was cheap stuff. And I bought these little itty-bitty teddy bear keychains. And I looked at the guy and I said, how much is that? He says, oh, they're not expensive. They're 5-6 cents a piece. I said, give me all of them. I take them, and every time I went out with a girl, I said, you know, I'm going to give you this keychain. It's a teddy bear. Every time you look at it, you're going to remember me. Oh, he's so romantic. It was cheaper. My friends were buying roses for $5. I went out on blind dates. You know what I did on a blind date? Because all my friends want to fix me up with a girl, and I don't want to go out with a girl if I have a tough time looking at her. So I developed a few things. Number one, I think I mentioned it to you, I never told her what time I'm going to be there. Because they love to say, you're late. No, I tell her, just before I come over, I'll call you when I'm ready to leave. So I've never a question of being late. It's when I'm there, your date starts. I didn't care what she thinks. You want to go out with me? I'll call you when I'm going to be there. If I work late, I don't want to have to rush to be late for you to give me shit, to give me an argument. If I didn't see what the girl looked like, I used to have a friend, he owned a little pizza place. So I used to call him up, Nick, I need one of those special pizzas. And he used to make me a small pizza, cheapest one he could make, and I'd go and pick it up. And I'd ring the doorbell and I'd go, pizza! And if she came to the door and she was ugly, I go, you order pizza? She'd go, no, okay, goodbye. If she was good looking, I said, a lot of guys bring flowers, I bring a pizza. It was important for me. A lot of times I ate that pizza in the car on the way home, let me tell you. I got to know, when you talk on the phone, you ask them questions, if they're good looking or not. You know, I would say to a girl like this, what do you think your best feature is? Well, if she was honest and she was attractive, she'd say, my figure, my chest, my ass. If she was ugly, she'd say, my eyes. I don't want to fuck her eyes. But you see, they're not honest. And there's a very small difference between good-looking girls and ugly girls. How they put on their makeup, how they handle themselves. Some girls are good-looking when you meet them the first time. After you going out with them for a while, they stop spending money on themselves. They take you for granted. Most women say, I don't want you to take me for granted. What does that mean? Well, it means they want to feel special. But it works two ways. You have to feel special too. You have to want them to want to please you. If you look at good relationships, the woman is taking care of her man. I went out with a Polish girl in Montreal. And she was so nice to me. She always cooked for me, fucked me. You know, no matter, she says, what do you like? What can I do for you? And then I met her sister. Her sister was much better looking. So I started to play with her sister, and she used to get mad. Do you want to fuck my sister? I go, yeah. But her sister wasn't a good cook. And one lived upstairs and one lived downstairs. So when I was fucking the sister, and she says, you want me to cook you something? I says, no, go down to your sister and get something. And they run for me. They want to please me. But they want to please you if you want them to please you. If you're not afraid to say what you want. If they don't want to please you, who needs them? We'll make more. There's more coming up. There's some statistics that I've heard when I was very young. It's a funny thing. In a women's magazine called Cosmopolitan in the United States, they print these statistics and they have women, you know, ask questions of yourself. If your boyfriend does this, this, and this, it's a good relationship or bad. So I read a lot of that when I was growing up, and I got one day a statistic that freaked me out. It said 60% of all women never have an orgasm in their life. Whew. I couldn't believe it. I found it really hard to understand it. Because I'll tell you, if a man has his balls, he can have an orgasm. It's not 50% or 20% or even 88%. It's 100% of all men can have an orgasm. How do you understand it? 60% can't of women. And I lived by it. I used to look at these girls who would drive guys crazy, go out with them on 10 dates, not fuck them. I gave myself a set of rules. If I don't fuck her by the third time I'm seeing her, I don't see her no more. Because she's playing with me. Because she has that power she doesn't need. She doesn't need sex like you do, like we do. And just recently, I'd say 4 months ago, I heard a new guy on TV. He's Dr. Oz in the United States. I don't know if you heard of him or not. And he came out with a statistic that really made me think. He said that 50% of all men think about sex all the time. And 25% of all women think about sex all the time. And I used to go, yeah, you know what? If you add that with the other statistic, it makes sense. It makes sense. I tell my students, if I tell you that if you listen to what I'm saying, every second woman that you're going to talk to, you're going to fuck. Is that good odds? Oh yeah, that's fantastic. 1 out of 2. I go, what if I tell you it's really 1 out of 4? Well, that's not bad. 1 out of 4 is not bad. It's good odds too. That's the reality. But you can go out and talk to a woman for 4 or 5 hours and she's the one of the 4 that you shouldn't talk to. But you're afraid to say things that are going to get her upset. No. Let her know what you want. Yeah, I want sex. I want a woman who enjoys sex. I ask women all the time, did you ever hear about that? That 60%, I heard over 60% of women don't have an orgasm. I thought every woman is going to tell me, no, it's stupid. They all tell me, yeah, I believe that. And a lot of them would say, you want to know which I am, the 40 or the 60? I go, if I get close enough, we'll find out. That's the reality. One of my very first students came to me with a problem. He told me he went out with a girl. I tell this to all my students, it's in all my seminars, because this is important to know. He went out with a girl for 1.5 years, and they broke up. And then he didn't see her for 6 months. Then he saw her again. He went on 2 fantastic dates with her. He wants to know, what does he have to do to get her back? And most guys, when they tell me, what do I have to do to get her back? I tell them like this, I can get a girl back, but you can't. The idea that the way she left usually tells me if you can get her back or not. Usually it's because the girl lost respect for you. Now I'm going to go back to honesty, trust, and respect. There's only one honesty. There's only one trust. But there's 2 respects. One is you respect somebody because you admire him. You respect me because you admire me. You're not afraid of me, but you respect the policeman because you're afraid of him. He's going to make you all kinds of trouble if you don't respect him. So there is 2 different respects. When a woman stops respecting you, it's over. Either you always demand respect and you can't go back on, you can't get lazy. Most guys who have trouble with women, it's because they get lazy. What is lazy? You're going to be nice to her. When I ask a girl, I go, what's your favorite food? She tells me, pizza, Italian food. If I take her out, that's the last place I'm going to take her to. Because that's what she wants. I'm not going there. I'm going to go where I want. I've had lots of women tell me, oh, I thought we were going to go for Chinese food. I says, why? She says, because I love Chinese food. I go, no, I wasn't in the mood tonight for Chinese food. She has to know it's what I'm in the mood for. I tell her, when you cook, you can cook me anything you want. I'll try it. If I like it, I'll eat it. If I don't, I won't. I don't take them out to eat more than once if they don't cook for me or make breakfast for me. I moved away from Montreal to Texas for 2 years. When I left, I didn't call one of the girls that I'm leaving goodbye. I was seeing 4 or 5 at the same time, fucking them steady. So I came back from Texas. It took me 3 days to drive back. I came back with a friend. He drove one car, I drove the other car. A whole bunch of stuff. When I got back, I said to the guy, I'm so fucking horny, I gotta call a girl. He says, who are you gonna call? I go, I don't know, I'm gonna look in my book. I look at it and I go, oh, I'm gonna call her. She used to be a good fuck. So I call her up. You didn't speak to me in 2 years. So just give me shit. So I say, stop. Her name was Pierrette. I say, stop. This is the deal I'm going to tell you. That's the choice you have. You can tell me it's okay to come over. And tomorrow morning when you're making breakfast for me, you can give me shit for the whole time. She said, okay, come over. And in the morning when she was making breakfast, she was giving me shit all the time. You didn't call me. What kind of person are you? And I'm listening. I'm going, yeah, go ahead, talk. It's not what she wanted. It's what I wanted. If she would have said, don't come over, I would have called another girl. When they're with me, I try to make them feel special. That's where my obligation stops. I have no commitment for them. I'm not married, and I didn't promise them anything. When you talk to women, they all want a guy who doesn't want to fuck anybody else but them. They want a guy in a monogamous relationship. And then I say to myself, you know, the funny thing is, all women like James Bond. Why? They know he fucks everybody, but they love him. What do women love? James Bond, Casanova, Don Juan. You know, a woman says to me, you're a real Don Juan. I go, no, my name's Dave. I don't care if they think I'm a Don Juan. I've had women come up to me. I fucked their friend. I fucked their cousin. I heard a lot of stuff about you. I tell them everything you heard is true. What do I care what she thinks? They love the bad boy. They love the guy who's not a good boy. It's the good boys that they walk around like they're puppies. Carry my bags, do this for me, do that for me. You know, there's a saying, what does a woman do to her asshole first thing in the morning? Sends him to work. I'm sure you got friends who are just like that. If the wife says jump, or I love the best thing is, I can't come to your place. I'm having a football party, you know, some beer. We're going to watch the game. We're going to, you know, smoke some drugs maybe. We're going to sit there and chill out, you know, the guys. My wife won't let me go. Fuck. My wife won't let me go. When did she get ownership on you?
I know a better story. Can I tell you?
Sure.
I have a friend, and he's married, and he has now a little child, about half a year, and he said to me, I'm a horny guy. I'm a horny guy. I haven't had sex for 3 months. I said, what the fuck is wrong with your wife? She's taking care about my baby, and she bought me PlayStation to play. So come out with me to the club. I can get you a lot of girls who will like you, to fuck you. And he said, no, she won't let me.
Yeah. She won't fuck him. She won't let him go. And you see, one thing you have to know about women, not to understand them, because we can't, but one thing you have to know, a woman will never love a man as much as she did before she has children. The strongest bond in love for a woman is her child. Natural. It's nothing to do with how good a guy you are. It's in a lot of relationships, which I'm probably sure your friend is in that group. The men start to feel bad because she doesn't love him as much as the baby. So he becomes more subservient because he's dying for the love, for the affection. She bought me a PlayStation. He didn't tell you it was with his money. You know?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so what did she do? You know?
Take his card off.
Exactly. But this is the control she has on him because of the baby. If you don't have a good control on the woman after you have a child, things get worse. If it's a little bit bad at the beginning, they get really bad. Because once she has her child, I went out with so many women who had children that their husbands left them. And I used that knowledge for more control. I'll be out of here like your ex-husband if you don't shut up. Right away, you know? She knows what happened with him. You use that for yourself. You use that knowledge.
Yeah, so I have a question for you, because maybe a lot of guys are on this level of life where they start to think about marriage, and how you survived your marriage, how you managed to 2 children, your wife, and how you did it.
It's easy for me, I tell you why. Because with my wife, any time she opens her mouth, starts to argue with me, I tell her, the door is there. There's no problem. Whatever you want, you can go to a lawyer, you can do anything you want. To me, money is round. Some days you have it, some days you don't. If she has my children, she can have my money because you got to take care of my kids. I don't care, but she's not going to have me. I'm not going to compromise my morals for anybody. And it's like, you know, my friend said to me, you just had an operation. You're going to Europe. I go, yeah. He says, what did your wife say? I go, you know, I never asked her. I didn't ask my wife if she minds if I could go. I told her I'm going. You know, one day, when she was pregnant, her father, my father-in-law, went to my father and said, you know what, I'd like you to tell David he should get married. My father looks at him and says, I haven't been able to tell David what to do since he's 18 years old. You can't tell him what to do. I'm proud of myself that I want to do what I want to do. I am relentless on my wife. I don't give in a little bit. A lot of my friends, my married friends, especially their wives, you never give in on her. You're hard on her. I went out with a girl one time. I was fixed up by a friend. So we went out, the 4 of us. My friend with his wife, and her friend, which was the girl they fixed me up with, because you'll find out that if you have a married friend and she likes you, she wants you to get married too. Safer for her husband. So they fix you up. So we're at the table, and they're having an argument. And she's telling him terrible things. You're da-da, you don't do this, you know, that cake, and he doesn't help me with the garbage, and he doesn't help me with this, the washing, and I'm just listening because it's none of my business. And then my girlfriend, who I went out with a few times, I was already fucking her. She starts to say, yeah, David. I look at her, what? If you talk to me about me like he's talking about her, in front of them. I says, you'll never see me again. And there won't be a chance. If you put me down, even the slightest, you don't want to be with me. I shut her up right away. And my friend's wife says, you shouldn't talk to her like that. I go, you can fix me up with people, but you can't tell me how I should or shouldn't talk to her. And then she told my friend, oh, he's a terrible person. I'm sorry I fixed him up. I don't give a fuck what you think. It's what I think. I won't stand a woman putting me down. If you want to put me down, you don't want me. Because this is control. How does women control men?
Yeah, so there is a question about this. You said about women, you want women to make pleasure to you. And you have a wife, 2 children, and she's...
I'm just going to get to it. I'm just going to tell you. Women control you like your mother does through guilt. They make you feel like you're doing something wrong if you don't do what they want. I don't feel guilty. Yeah, I want her to do what I want. She thinks something different. This is outside influences come in. She talks to her friends. Oh, he does that for you? I take care of my family the same way I take care of my wife. I give her everything she could want, and I give her my affection. And I want back the same affection and the respect. I don't stand for it if it stops for 1 second. It doesn't stop. I don't get lazy. I don't go, okay, I'll let her have her way. You know, I've heard so many times, guys are with their girlfriends and they're going out with them for a while, and they go, and the girl says, where do you want to go eat tonight? What do you want to have for dinner tonight? And he goes, I don't care. Whatever you want, dear. Me too. Well, once you give up control, you know, when you're in your car and you're driving, the car's going to where you want it to go. If you give it to somebody else to drive, it's going to where they want it to go. When my wife says, what do I want for dinner? I go, oh, let me see. Oh, I think I want Chinese food tonight. Or I want a pizza tonight. It's what I want. I don't stop for a second. I don't say, what do you want, dear? I say, that's what I want. Sometimes I tell her, see if the boys want that too. Usually my boys want whatever I want. Because we like the same kind of stuff, you know. But that's easy. The same thing with my kids. I give them time. I talk to them. It's easier for me because I had my children late in life. When my friends at 20 years old had their kid, I have one friend, I think I mentioned it to you. He comes to my house one day and he says, can I stay here for a while? I said, why? My wife was driving me crazy. I had to run out of the house. He ran away from her. He was hiding at my place. And I would get from him, you're so lucky. You're so lucky. I'm not lucky. I wouldn't let a woman do to me what your woman is doing to you. It's not them doing it to you, it's you. You're letting her do it to you. You don't stop her. Oh, it's easier. I don't want to have an argument. That's getting lazy. You can't get lazy and then later on take control again. If you give her the controls, she's got the controls. You don't see the Muslims tell the woman, walk in front now for a while. It's the same thing. That's the way it has to be. You can't change for a little bit.
But they still try to walk in front of.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? The ones that try to, they're never happy. You know, There was a woman who started this whole woman's movement, Gloria Steinman. She wrote books, you know. She was the kind of woman when I was younger, she didn't want men to open her car door. I had a girl one time tell me, when I went to open the door for her, she goes, I don't need you to open my door. I said, it has nothing to do with you. I feel comfortable opening the door for you. We do. We feel, growing up, we feel like we're a knight. You know? That we take care of the woman. That's our comfort thing. When they cut your legs and make them feel they don't need you anymore, they start to control you. She started this woman's movement, and they interviewed her a couple of years ago, and they said to her, so how did it work what you did? You revolutionized the women's movement. She says, I ruined my life. I never had children, and I never got married, and I missed that with a man. Because that's also the natural instinct. It's in our DNA. It's in our DNA to get signals from a woman. A woman is meant to have children. And you know, you start to look around and you'll see something very interesting. It's another observation I have. If you see a woman who never had children, when she gets older, she's like a witch. You know, she's not kind, she's not nice. It's like our nursery rhymes and dreams, you know, of the witch that pushes the kids into the oven, you know. They're not motherly women. If they never had children, something's wrong in their body. Those chemicals never ran. You know, when a woman gets pregnant, they call it in English, I don't know, nesting. It's like a bird when he builds the nest for the babies. They want to have their room nice. They want to have this, they want to have that, you know. They got to buy the baby clothes. Your fucking baby's going to be there in 6 months. You got to go today, you know. They start nesting, and it's a chemical reaction in their body. They can't control it, and they can't tell you why, but they feel they got to do it. This is the natural in our DNA. We're programmed. We're programmed to reproduce. They're programmed to make a nest for their babies. You have to accept it. You can't fight it. This is natural. They're meant to produce children. I have the godmother for my 2 boys lives in Toronto. That's about 600 or 700 kilometers from Montreal. 350 miles. And she used to be going out with my best friend. He passed away from cancer many years ago. And we stayed close because I grew up with her. We were kids in the same class when I was 14 years old. And she was a singer. Never successful, but she liked singing. And she had so many different boyfriends. She had already 3 husbands, 5 boyfriends. And every time she got pregnant, she had an abortion. And then one day, about 15 years ago, she says, you know, I'd like to have kids. So she was with a guy, and they were trying to have kids. She couldn't get pregnant. She went to a doctor, and the doctor said, it's too late. A woman, when they say they're on a clock, her eggs dried up. You know, when a woman goes through menopause, that's another terrible thing. A woman who liked sex can end up after menopause hating it. And a woman who hated sex can end up liking it. They go through a whole fucking hormone chemical reaction. When my wife was pregnant, I used to tell her, I don't like you very much. You're a real bitch. And she used to say, I know, I can't help it. I'm talking one day to a guy at my friend's place, and he tells me his wife's pregnant. I says, how are you getting along with her? He goes, oh, it's fabulous. I go, are you sure? He goes, yeah. I go, fuck, when my wife was pregnant, I kept thinking to myself, did I make a mistake? But yeah, the chemical reaction in their body, we don't go through that unless we have a brain damage or something. But we don't go through that. It's hard for us to understand. You could talk to a person and 4 seconds later they want to take a knife and stab you in the chest. You know, it's hard for us to understand. But they go through things. That's why my rule number 1, don't try to understand them. Don't try to think what they want. Rule number 2 says you have to do what you want. You have to think what you want. And then, you know what? The women like it better. They want a man, who's strong. You know, strength isn't how much you could lift. It's strength of character. They want a man who knows what he wants and not afraid to say it. Every time you're afraid with a woman, she picks up on it. She feels it. Maybe it's the chemical reaction. Maybe it's what you don't see because you're trying to think too hard. But she gets control of you and she can make you dance. Because you're thinking of this pussy to get into. You're not thinking the right way.
That's the symbol you put here.
What's that?
Symbol of the pussy.
Well, I call it like this, you know. It looks more like, you know what I used to tell? I never fight with a guy over this. You want to know why? Because we make more all the time. There's no limit. There's more women on this planet than men. And the worst thing is, as you get older, it multiplies even more. You know, men die first. Why do they die first? Because they're married. They want a way out. It's amazing. You know, my mother died when she was 60 years old. My father was 61. And I was amazed. I was amazed at all her friends who lost their husbands and went after my father. Shamelessly. I used to tell my brothers and sisters this, whoa. They're going after my father, and I tell my father, Dad, go with them. And he'd go, no. He says, you know, in his way, he'd go out with a woman for coffee. They wouldn't sleep together till it was a relationship already. Old school, I used to tell him, play golf. Do 18 holes. You know, go with them. They want you. Oh, no, you can't do that. My father used to say to me, how could you be with so many women? And I'd look at him and I'd say, I didn't think I was with enough yet. It's a different way of looking at it. It's what I want. It's what I wanted to have. It's what I wanted to do. It's what I enjoyed. I think women are very precious. They're like flowers. Some of them are so sweet you want to lick every inch of their body. I used to tell women, my motto is, I want to spend some quality time with a woman and be able to put a smile on her face. That's the commitment, I say. That's the only commitment I should have. That's a terrible thing. I want to spend some good time with a woman and put a smile on their face. There's no question that I could ask them that I would be afraid to ask. You know, a lot of times I would talk to a woman, she would ask me a question that I didn't feel comfortable and I didn't want to answer. And what did I say? I said, I don't know you well enough, so I don't feel comfortable answering that question. Well, as soon as you do that, especially with a woman, you could say that to a man and he'll go, okay, he'll understand. But you say that to a woman, now they're mad at you. They're mad they didn't get the answer. Some of them will ask you 20 times, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me. And I would go back to setting up my perimeter. Honesty, trust, and respect. I told you honestly, I don't feel like answering the question, and you have to respect me by listening to what I'm telling you. It's better than telling them a lie. I don't want to lie. I don't lie to women. The truth is better by 100 times. First of all, they never believe the truth. It's crazy, but they don't believe the truth. I meet some women, she says to me, how many women you sleeping with? So I go like this, about 6. Come on, tell me the truth. Okay, whatever you think. You know? The funny thing is, after I tell them I'm not answering their question, my next trick is I have to ask them a question. So I usually ask them a question, it's not very important. What's your second favorite color? And you know what? 99% of the time I get the answer, I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you. Because she has to pay me back. That's why I ask her a stupid question, because if it's an important question, she's not going to tell me any question I ask. Doesn't matter which question I'm going to ask, it's going to be the same answer to any question. I'm not telling you. I don't feel comfortable. So I have to tell her, you know what? I didn't tell you that to play games with you. I told you that because that's the way I feel, but you're telling me that because you want to pay me back. You want to punish me. There's where the different thing. You say to a man, I can't tell you yet. I'm not ready to tell you. You accept it. He's not ready to tell me. Okay. You say it to a woman and you started the war. Right away she has to pay you back. You said something she didn't like. A lot of guys are afraid, so they'll tell her the wrong thing. They'll tell her anything they think she wants to hear. That's where the strength comes in. You have to feel strong enough to stand by what you do. You can't get afraid of them. So many times I get from guys, it's incredible. Every time I think about it, I laugh. I can't talk to good-looking women. I'm afraid of good-looking women. Why? You think she's a martial arts expert? She took boxing, kickboxing. She's smarter than you. Always no, 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 no. But if she's ugly, you're not afraid of her. I used to reinforce my control on a woman after I had sex with them. I would tell them when I'm fucking them and getting them all hot and everything, I'd say, kiss my asshole. What? Yeah, kiss my asshole. And they're all horny and they'll do it. And then later, a day later, she starts, I go, listen, any woman that kisses my asshole can't talk to me like that. This is, yeah, it's not fair. Okay. It's my control. I want her to know that I am the one who's controlling her in anything I want. It's important. They only want you more. You know, I think the worst thing of your generation right now, the worst thing is text messages. You need me?
No, it's fine. Scratching my ear.
Oh. The worst thing is text messages. I have a cell phone. I tell everybody the same thing. Don't text me. I'm not answering a text. It's a cell phone. Call me if you want to talk to me. I don't look at the number when you call me because I answer everybody. I'm not afraid to talk to anybody. If I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to talk to you. But texting, because the trouble is with texting is they're always going, look what he sent me, to their friends. They're sending your text message to their other friend. What should I tell them today? You're not talking to her. You're talking to her and the 6 of her friends. And the funny thing is, women are not friends like we understand friends. They don't want their friend to do well. Women will help their friends out when they broke up with their boyfriend and they're crying. Oh, they love that. To help them out when they're in trouble. They don't want them to have a really nice guy. It's like if you buy a girl an expensive present, she's going to tell her friend, her mother, her sister, and they're going to say, he wants to fuck you. If you give her a teddy bear that costs nothing, you know what they're going to say? Oh, he's so romantic. I look at it, I'm cheap. I used to send, this is another thing, okay? If you give a girl a card, I don't know, in North America, we have Valentine's Day.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, you have it here?
Yeah.
Okay, because you don't, like, they don't have it in every country, but, okay. If you don't give them a Valentine's card and you're fucking them, you're not fucking them anymore. That's for sure. Now, what do you do? Well, I don't remember. When I would go buy a card, I'd go in, thank you, I'm going to pay it, and go. Sign my name to it. I wouldn't even look at what it said. They all say the same thing anyway, just in different ways. And I would get shit. You didn't even read the card. And I'd say, you're right. So I had an idea. How do I get away from this? How do I make myself special and control? So I went to the store and I told the guy, I want to buy a case of cards, all the same one. He looked at me and says, you have to buy 12 dozen, 144. So I said, okay. So I gave every girl the same Valentine's Day card, and I had to memorize 7 words or 8 words. And then when she got the card and she talked to me on the phone, and I'd say, blah, 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 she goes, oh, you're so romantic, you remembered it. I said, I chose it just for you. And one girl I was seeing her 2 years in a row. And she said to me, you gave me the same card last year. I said, do you know how hard it is to find the same card 2 years in a row? Even my wife said to me, you know, you gave me the same card 3 years in a row. I said, I have a whole case, I got to get rid of them. It was, to me, hey, he's so romantic. I would go to their house and I would say, did you get my Valentine's Day card? And she'd go, yeah. And I'd read the poem and she says, what's that? I go, you didn't read the card? You're not right. She'd go to the card and say, yeah, oh, I'm so sorry. I would be like, fuck. Apology sex. I get a blowjob for sure. I had to remember one fucking card. And for that, I was rewarded. They thought I was so romantic. I'm not romantic. I'm making my life easier.